the subject. So I'm going to call on you if I need any clarifications. Okay, so let's start. Whether it is your grid or not your grid, the idea is to learn from it. And I'm concentrating so much on the question paper, on the quiz style, because that's what most of our assessments are. And most of our teaching learning is focused on this. Okay, so it does not matter whether it is your template or not your template. What you need to learn from what others have written out. So we'll start with that. Okay. Okay, so this is the first template. Now what I have done is, some of you had sent to me in Excel, etc. So by and large, I've kept it as it is, just added a little color and sometimes change the size of things. Okay, so the first template is by Renu Khandelwal. This is Eco and Commerce. I'm not sure which year or course it is, but let's look at it. Okay, now I don't want you to go through the entire thing. What I would want you to do is okay. What I want you to concentrate on is whatever has been is in bold. That is the various skills, the percentage of marks per learning skill, and the total marks. Okay, so let's look at the economics and commerce template. You have remembering, understanding, etc. And if you look at the percentages, you have 31, 22, 14, 17, 16, a good distribution. I would have liked to see some amount of creating in however smaller percentage, but ultimately you are the judge. It's your subject, your students, your course. So perhaps you could not find any area where you could put in a creating question, but always aim to give at least a small percentage of creating. Though, of course, you are the final expert in that field. However, what I did not understand is this total marks. Okay. Now you have 5 modules. Can Renu unmute herself?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, okay. Madam, I'm there.
Okay. Now, Renu, you have 5 modules and you have them of 90 marks. Okay. Now, your papers are of 90 marks and you have 5 modules. Now, are your modules unequal with respect to the lecture load?
No, madam.
They are equal.
They are equal.
They are equal. If they are equal with respect to the lecture load, this is for all of you, because I saw this in a number of your templates, then the distribution has to be equal approximately. Okay. So it cannot be 22.5, 15, 12.5, because remember, it's all about assessment being the driving force of learning. Students are going to come prepared with all 5 modules equally. So it's not fair to them to have one more module this is for everyone. 12.5, the other 22.5. So make sure that you have all your modules of equal weightage. If it does not fit into, like, for example, 3 modules for 100 marks, so 33, 33, 34 would be okay. But more or less, it should be equal. In fact, it should be equal. If you have this kind of a problem, maybe a mark here or there could change, but otherwise all the modules should be equal. Is that clear? Okay. So whereas percentage of
okay, ma'am. Yeah, we'll take care.
Yeah, the distribution is okay. Then we go to the next. This is Ritika Lala of the Department of Computer Science. Now let's look at the percentages: 20, 20, 33, 7, 7, and creating 13%. So a very good distribution of marks. But here again, Ritika, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, I'm presuming these 3 modules are equal in terms of lectures. Are they?
Yes, yes.
Then it should be 25, 25, 25. You have to be careful about this, okay? So in your this, make sure that if generally the modules carry equal marks, and therefore it should be 25, 25, 25. If not a good distribution, well done in terms of distribution of marks. Then we have the BMS and BAF department, Professor Amna. So here, this is done well, 15, 15, 15, 15, 15 for the 5 modules with 75 marks. And let's look at the distribution. So it is 33, 26, 6, 26, and 6. So it's a good distribution. Perhaps a few percentage of marks for creating would help, especially since it's BMS and BAF. I would think BMS and BAF leads itself to some amount of creation in case of case studies. Now, since you all didn't tell me whether it was the first year, first semester, and what was the course, I could not really make that decision. But otherwise, the distribution of the percentage of marks as well as the total marks is good, except that I would have liked to see some amount of creating, especially since you have BMS and BAF. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, we'll do it next time.
Yeah. So now you have Dr. Seema.
Yes, ma'am. It's first year botany. First year.
Your botany. Did you not give me the marks, or did they get? Okay, let me see. Now here, I would like to see some amount of evaluating also. You know, give them a small question. Suppose it's botany first semester. You're not sure whether they can manage. Give them a small amount of marks that maybe they could use as a choice.
Okay.
But so that the next year when students look at your paper, because students look at previous papers, right? So when they look at previous papers, they will see that there is this evaluating skill. And even as you're teaching, you will talk about the evaluating skill. Whereas if you look at a template like this, you will not introduce into your teaching the evaluating skill. So put something of evaluating, creating would be ideal. But of course, if it's your first semester, creating is difficult, but a little percentage for evaluating would help, because of the fact that it helps you to introduce that skill in your teaching, and it helps students realize that they're going to be evaluated with respect to that skill. Okay.
Thank you.
Then microbiology. Now see, this is the distribution I was talking about. This is a good distribution, 34, 33, 33. But again, microbiology, I would have liked to see a few marks for evaluating. It's an introduction to microbiology, so it's the first semester, but a small percentage of marks for evaluating, so that you introduce it into your teaching and students are aware that they have to start developing this skill. As in the case of botany, you could put it in choice, so that students who are just coming to your course, who are still struggling with the introduction to the course, could avoid this question. But the brighter students will get challenged. They will realize, people looking at your previous papers will realize that this is the kind of course I am being taught in this college. Okay. Okay, then you have chemistry. Chemistry, this is your template. This is in fact, I wasn't sure what, anyone from the chemistry, could you tell me which course this is, which year? Chemistry, which year is this template meant for?
It is for previous year, last 2 years back.
No, but which year? First year, second year, or third year?
This is for especially 3rd year.
For third year. Then it makes sense. Okay, for third year makes sense in that it had a very high it had quite a high percentage for creating. So it as much for creating as for remembering. Now again, while I said it's good to have marks for creating, do not go overboard also, okay? But if it is a TY paper and you prepared it, maybe this is okay. If it was a first year paper, I would say no, don't put so many marks for creating, but third year paper, this should be okay. Okay, so the good division of marks per learning skill. But again, in terms of modules, please see that you have, if it's a 55 mark, where did you get this 55 marks, by the way? Where did you get 55 marks for?
That is total marks as per the questions. It's not
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
According to number of questions.
so see, you have, when you're preparing, okay, I think that is the problem we are having. You all are doing it as per question, taking into consideration the choice also. What you have to do is you have to take, now suppose, by the way, how much, what is your paper, end semester paper? How many marks is your end semester paper out of?
Yeah, 100 marks, 100
100
marks.
marks. So this should be 100. Okay. This should be
Okay, okay.
100. This should be 34, 33, 33. Is that clear? All of you have 100 marks. It should be 33, 32,
Yes.
32, or with 1 mark here and there, 33, 33, 34, somewhere around. And those of you who have 5 modules will have 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Now, these 20 marks is what you have to divide over here. Okay. These 20 marks, or in this case, 33 marks, is what you have to divide over the various learning skills. And so that the total of all this should be 100. Is this clear, all of you? Or
Yes, yes, yes.
okay, has everybody understood this?
Yes,
That
ma'am.
this total marks must be the total of your end semester question paper. 100, 60, 75, whatever it is.
Ma'am, if this is for chemistry subject, we have each paper of chemistry in TY for 100 marks, and there are 4 units involved.
4 units. So therefore, then it should be 100 marks,
25,
and it should be
25,
25, 25, 25. So there should have been 4 modules of 25 marks each, 100 marks. And it is this 25 marks that you have to then distribute across the learning skills. Is this clear, all of you?
Yes, yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So all of you, please, when you're preparing a template, this is your total marks of your end semester paper. These are the number of modules into which your paper is or your syllabus has. Divide this 100 marks into that, either 4, 5, 3, whatever. And it is this amount of marks. Suppose it's 4. So 25 marks is what you're going to distribute over the various learning skills, keeping in mind the content of the syllabus, so that when you add up all this, it should be 100. Okay. Are there any questions about the template? Because ultimately the template depends upon you, your knowledge of the paper, your knowledge of your students, whether it is the first semester. So I would think that I won't spend any more time on this. If you all have understood how to prepare the template and how to do the distribution, I think we could end this part of the presentation. Are there any questions? No, so we'll finish with the template. Now I would like to spend a little more time on the next thing, which is the assignment. Okay, the questions. Because you can put any kind of template, you can put any kind of course outcomes, unless you follow it up in a proper way, it will not be done. So let's go through the various questions. Again, I want all of you to pay attention, because though it may not be your subject, most of them are not my subject, but you'll get an understanding of how to frame questions and what we mean by remembering, understanding, applying, etc. Okay, so Dr. Jyotsna, are you with us?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay, come on. So remembering, what is public finance? I'm presuming that this is a kind of a definition or something that you would be that you were expecting. So it's a remembering. Okay. Then understanding, discuss the nature of public finance. Yes, a discuss question becomes an understanding, because they know a lot about the nature of public finance, I presume. And obviously they cannot write everything. They have to write a certain amount, and that would be paraphrasing depending upon their understanding. So it becomes an understanding question. Then applying, prepare a role play on nature of public finance. Dr. Jyotsna, may I understand that? What is prepare a role play on nature of public finance?
What can I speak?
Yes.
Here, what I mean that students should assign a role to a particular objective or particular nature of the public finance, and that can be put into a conversation format or imaginary anything, so
Okay.
that they can talk about the nature, but in a play form.
In a play form. Now
Yeah.
that would not really be applying, but be creating. They are creating, they have understood it, and they are now creating a kind of an imaginary role or imaginary play with the help of their knowledge of nature of public finance, right?
Yeah.
So that would be go into creating.
The reason is, ma'am, because public finance is in the hands of, not in the public, it is in the hands of the government.
Right.
So the common people cannot approach them. They can approach only via imagination or by creating. So
Yeah. So
further
therefore, yeah, so I like your question, but it has to be it is a creating question. Okay, it is a creating type of question, and it should be worded in a little better way. You have to, you could actually write that public finance is in the hands of the government. Imagine using role play, give the whatever.
if you are the finance minister or something like
Yeah,
that.
if you are the finance minister by
Okay.
way of role play, because if not, it's not really understood. Prepare a role play on nature of public finance is not.
Okay, I got it. They can have an imaginary role that जैसे
Yes.
मैं PM होता तो क्या करता, like this.
Yes. Same thing
Okay.
you're creating. Same thing what you're creating. No, you're creating also is a good question. What should be the ideal nature of public finance? But again, you could have put it as a finance minister, or you could have said, if you were in charge of public finance in present India, what would be the ideal nature of it? Discuss. That is creating again. Good question, but a little more detail. See, we should be very clear that there should be clarity. Of course, I don't know your subject, but it's even in the wording of the question, it should be very clear. If not, what happens? Our students do not know our expectations. Now, when we are asking questions, we want to know what the students know. We don't want to confuse them. So make your questions as clear as possible so that they know what you expect. And if they know that, they can write it. If not, sometimes they know the answer, but because they haven't understood your question, you get the wrong answer. That's not something we want, right? So just be, okay. So then analyzing what are the changes in the nature of public finance in India over a decade. Okay, so they'll analyze it. Evaluating are the changes in the nature of public finance in India towards betterment. Okay, now again, obviously this will be for 5 marks or 10 marks. So students know they cannot, they are expected to write a bulky answer, but at the same time, let's just look at the question. Are the changes in the nature of public finance in India towards betterment? Okay. Suppose I say yes, or suppose I say no. Is it the answer to the question?
No, they have to elaborate it. They have to give the reasons.
But you haven't said that, no? You just asked, are the changes in the
I
nature of public finance in India towards betterment?
Yeah.
So I could say yes or no. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it is not objective. It is
yes,
subjective.
I understood that.
You have to elaborate it. Yeah.
Yes, I understood. But you could say, support your answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Give supporting evidence of your answer, or substantiate your answer, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you have to be careful, because students could, and also when somebody reads your paper, they know that you are thinking about all the possibilities. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is, of course, not only for Dr. Jyotsna, it's for all of you. Be careful when you are wording your questions, if not a good set of questions. Okay. Okay.
Great. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Nandini, physics. Okay. Nandini, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. So with the help of a neat diagram, explain the construction. So that's a remembering question. They know the diagram. I like this question of yours. Find the error in this circuit diagram. Because unless they have understood the circuit diagram, they cannot find the error. So that's a good question. Okay. Then Why is the input current of in nanoamperes? Why does this feature make it better than, why would you put it as an applying question? Because it's a why, it's an analysis, no? They're going to analyze it. They are not, you know,
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
if
Yes.
you tell them, see, this is your circuit diagram, apply it to some, you know, to some, give them an area of application and tell them, apply this circuit diagram or improve the circuit diagram for so and so purpose. Okay, then it would
Yeah,
be
yeah, I get
applying.
it.
Whereas this
Yes,
is
yes.
an analyzing question. Then discuss what will happen if the gate of an N-channel is forward. Okay, so they'll analyze it. Design a common source amplifier having a voltage gain of 10. What will happen? Now, why again? Design a common source amplifier having a voltage gain of 10. They're designing, they're creating. Why did you?
Ma'am, actually, yeah, they know the formula. All they have to do is apply the formula and solve some equations, and they get the design. So that's why specifically I've put it in evaluation and not in
Okay.
creating.
Okay, so you feel that they are not doing anything on their own. They're using
Yeah,
the
they are.
specs and they're
They're
designing.
basically solving equations, and you know,
Okay.
like
Okay.
that's the
Oh.
reason. Yes.
Okay. Now, there's just one thing I wanted to make clear to you, that suppose you have skills, and now suppose this is an evaluating skill. Obviously, they have to do analysis, understand, etc. But you will
Yes.
always write down the highest skill, okay, that is being utilized, okay? Because unless you go, this is a hierarchy system, unless you
Yeah,
master the
yeah.
lower levels, you can't get to the highest.
Yeah.
So whichever is the highest skill they're using, you put that down. Then discuss how you can use SCR to regulate the speed of a fan running on a DC source. This is, I can see, a creating, but just, you know, when you're writing it out, don't use the word
Yeah.
discuss.
Yeah, design would have been a better.
Design, or how can you use,
Mhm.
elaborate on your answer.
Yes.
That would be a better way of putting
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so
Then,
much.
yes. Then Mr. Shahbaz Rizvi, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Okay. So write a note on preservation and dissolution of sample, remembering. Discuss various grades of lab reagents. Okay, understanding. Calculate the percentage composition. Okay, applying. Compare FES and AS. Yes. Okay. Then evaluating, I think you wanted to write, evaluate the different equipment for sampling of compact solids, right?
Actually,
the
madam,
question.
they are nothing to do with evaluation over there. They have learned different equipments with respect to all the states that we have.
Okay.
So they have to use and evaluate why they can use a particular stuff only in case of compact solids.
Yeah. So therefore, so what you could write, consider the different equipment for sampling and elaborate on the one that you would choose for compact solids.
Okay, that could be one.
Okay, so
Yes.
they know exactly they know many. So they have to
Yeah.
tell you which of these many they want to use for compact solids and why.
Right, right. ma'am.
So they'll
Noted.
evaluate which one. Arrange the events in hierarchy of their happening in flame emission spectroscopy. Now, why would you think this is a creating? They're going to create the hierarchy, okay? But what skill are they using? What skill?
Madam, here they have understood the principle of the
Okay.
working of flame emission
Okay.
spectroscopy. So
Okay.
here I expect the students to just in the form of a flow diagram, maybe they should explain me what exactly is happening from first to last in FESC.
So that therefore they would be analyzing, they would not be creating. They're creating a hierarchy, but they're not using the skill of creating.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
there's a slight difference. You can create a table, but you're not using the skill of creation and putting down the table, no? You may be
Okay. Yes, yes,
analyzing
yes.
data and
Right.
putting the table. Creating would be doing something a little new. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me go on to the next. Okay, paper 4. Dr. Chitralekha. Okay, let's go through them. Chemical separation of is difficult, justifies an evaluation. Explain is understanding. This is a direct remembering question. Demonstrate. Okay, when you're telling them to demonstrate, then it becomes an application question, provided you have not taught them the same thing in class or in their textbook. Elaborate on the differences in the trends in the physical properties. Okay, so they're going to analyze and talk about the differences. Design a method for the quantitative estimation in an inorganic mixture. Okay, so they're designing a method, so it's a creation. The only thing is a lab here on the differences, just make sure that they've not learned it in that way in class. Okay, if not, a good set of questions.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, now we go to the next group. Oops, sorry. Okay, give the electronic configuration, remembering, derive. Now, can someone from the chemistry group tell me why did you all think derive Anderson and Hasselbalch equation was an understanding question?
Because that equation is very important, Henderson equation, to understand.
I agree, but don't the students, at least my students, they'll study up the derivation and they put it down in their paper, isn't it? The derivation is something that we do with them in class or it's in the textbook, and they study it and they put it down in the paper. They are not analyzing or applying any knowledge to derive the equation, right?
Okay, okay. Yes.
Remembering, I think.
It's a remembering question because it's the derivation of Anderson and Hasselbalch equation is something we teach. It's in the textbook. They study it up and they put it down. Okay, so you would call it a remembering question. True, there is some amount of understanding, then you can remember it better. So only if you understand the stages will you be able to remember the derivation better, but it's still a remembering question. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Yeah, arranging in increasing order of acidic strength, give reason for your answer. This again, I would say would be more of an analysis because see, they're looking at, arranging it and giving reason why this is less acidic, this is more acidic, isn't it? This is a good question for analysis because they're analyzing. And that is the reason they're giving you. Why did they put this first, second, third, fourth, fifth? What was the what were the increasing order of acidic strength as they have understood it?
Could I just interrupt,
Yes.
ma'am?
Yes.
We included it in the applying because the concept of acid-base theory is taught to them. They're applying that theory to arrive at the acidity.
Yeah, they're applying it, but I'm saying they're going even higher.
Okay.
They're not just applying, of course, they're applying their knowledge. As I told you, you have to master the lower level and go to a higher level. They're not just applying their knowledge, they're analyzing and they're applying their knowledge, analyzing it and giving you the answer, no? So it's going to an even higher order or scale of learning.
Okay, ma'am.
That's
yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Then elaborate on the trend in allotropy of group 16. This I'm not sure whether it's analysis or understanding. Elaborate on the trend in allotropy. Have they learned the trend in allotropy of group 16 elements? Is this taught, the trend, and then they are elaborating on it?
Yeah, that they are taught about the property of allotropy and they'll be elaborating on the trend.
Yeah, so then I think that would be more an understanding, don't you think?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so this is an understanding, whereas this is an analysis. It's more justify, evaluation, design and experiment creating. Okay, good questions. Okay. So now let's go to the next one. Now, this is something that I was happy to see because very often people ask me, is it possible to have these various levels of learning even in multiple choice questions? So I was happy to see multiple choice questions and what is the value? So that is just a remembering. Okay, then when two liquids A and B are mixed, their boiling points become greater than both of them. The mixture is, so only if they've understood it, will they write the right answer. Okay, so it's an understanding. Then state whether true or false, the vapor pressure of solvent is lowered when a non-volatile solute is added to it. Yeah. Why is it an application question?
So they will have to, they should know the basic principles, then only they, after applying that only they will get the answer. No?
Yeah, but have they not to analyze? See, applying, they have to apply,
Yeah.
and then they analyze, no, which is whether it is true or false, depending upon what they have understood about the vapor pressure properties.
Okay, so.
Okay, so that would be analysis.
It can go in apply analysis also. Okay.
Yes. Then the rate constant of a reaction decreases. Okay, here again, they have to know and then they will analyze. Okay. Then evaluate the depression and freezing point of solvent even. Okay, so they are evaluating it.
Numerical, these problems will go in evaluation.
Evaluation.
Always.
Yeah, it is. Evaluate or analysis depending. See, if it's a direct use of a equation, it will be analysis. If they have to do some amount of thinking, saying should they use this or this factor and all, then it becomes a evaluation.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Wouldn't this question be, I'm from zoology, but I'm just interested in know that this is a problem. So wouldn't it be application?
It could be application, an application or I would say analysis. Let's put it as analysis because they have to analyze which, which equation and then see the various factors. Therefore, we'll put it as analysis. If it's very, very direct, then you put an application. See this, you will have to decide.
Okay.
Not all, so your problems could go into apply, analysis, or evaluate. If they have to decide what has to be done and it becomes more, then it's evaluate because they're evaluating the situation and seeing what is suitable for this to solve this problem. If it is just a direct one, it will be analysis. And if they are doing a little bit of, looking at various factors and all, then you would put it as analysis. Have you understood? Have you got the answer? Now, let's look, if we are talking about this, no, see what, then her last one. 2 solutions, find the molecular weight. So she said in feedback, it has to be written twice and so there has to be a rearrangement. Now, this is therefore an evaluation. You cannot have a creation. You cannot have a creating question in multiple choice. All of you, please remember that. Why? Because creating is something new, right? If it is something new, it cannot have a definite answer. There cannot be, you could not have known the answer before. Like, let's say in that if you are the finance minister, what would you do? Now that is, it's like a creating thing. You cannot have definite multiple choice questions to that. Then it's not a creating question. If there are already definite answers to it and a person chooses one of those answers, the person is not creating knowledge from the understanding of the knowledge that the person already has. Have you understood that point?
Yeah, what I thought, since they are coming out to a relation, acceptable relation by using this logic, so I put this in creativity.
Yeah, no, it would be evaluate. So your person who asked me from zoology, this would be an evaluation because they are, they are evaluating the various factors and they have to repeat a certain factor and then get the right answer. It would be evaluation. Creating,
yes, madam.
Creating cannot be used in multiple choice because if there is a definite answer, it is not creating. Is that understood? Another thing is that you have to keep in mind when you're using, you're giving these kind of questions, is that you have to give students time to answer. Okay. In the sense that, see, for a remembering question, a multiple choice remembering question, or even an understanding, the student will be able to do it quickly. Now, do you think that the student can do these problems in the same amount of time? What do you think? All of you, what do you think?
HOTs will require more time.
It will definitely require more time. So what you can do is, what is generally done in multiple choice is, if you want to give these kind of questions, you give say A and B. So A carries 1 mark or whatever you have, and then you have double the marks for this kind of question. That means the student has double the time. But you have to be careful that the student is able to do it in even double the time, okay? I'm not sure, you are the best judge of the time required by the student to do all this, to do this calculation, etc. But you have to give the student enough of time. If not, the student will never do these questions. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I finished the various questions at the various levels. I have not seen everybody's assignment, but I hope that through our discussion, you have understood some of the pitfalls or some of the problems that you have when setting these type of questions. Now, I'll give you just about 2 minutes if anyone has a query on that. If not, I'll go on to my actual topic for today. Okay. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So now, yesterday we spoke about the quiz or the question paper format. I'm just going to repeat some of the things. We were looking at outcome-based education with the various learning outcomes. And we said that these course learning outcomes were academic and soft skills. Now, we looked at all the various academic skills in the presentation yesterday, but very many of these soft skills were not included over there. It would be difficult to look at group dynamics, leadership, when talking about a question paper format. So how do we assess these skills? Should we assess these skills? Let's start with that. Should we be assessing these skills? I would say yes. One is because students have different skills and learning styles. And I think this cartoon puts it forward, puts the explanation very nicely of why we should assess different skills. Okay. Now, besides the fact that students have different skills and therefore we should be assessing these different skills, they need to develop these varied skills. You'll have all heard about the left brain and the right brain, and it is only if all the various regions of both the sides of the brain are developed do you get a holistic person. So both logic and creativity have to be developed, and it's not very easy to develop all these skills in a question paper format. So alternate assessments are important. Technology is also important to be assessed because, especially with the pandemic, you have all realized that this is how we have evolved and are evolving. Okay, and Bloom's taxonomy also says that there are 3 domains: the emotional, the physical, and the intellectual. And only when you focus on all 3 domains will you get a holistic form of education. So that's my reasons for telling you that you must have alternate assessments and you must assess different skills of the students. Because remember our initial goal, we want our students to be employable. We want them to to have holistic development. We want them to be global citizens. We want them to contribute to India. Now, for that, they need, besides the intellectual skills, all these various soft skills too. And the best way to see, you can have, your college could have some courses for group dynamics, for leadership, etc. But the most time the students spend in college is in our classes, hopefully. So that is the best way to to embed these soft skills into the coursework that we do. And how do we help develop the skills? By looking at assessment, because as only we give them assessments, will they be motivated to develop these various soft skills, which we think would be important for them in their future lives. Okay, so we're going to look at alternate assessments, presentations, assignments, field visits, etc. Now, you have various learning strategies and assessments. So you have group learning, inquiry-based. I've just put down a whole lot of strategies and a whole lot of assessments. And I'm sure you'll have been exposed to a lot of this right through. So this is just to tell you that you have a whole lot of alternate assessments, your projects, field trips, poster presentations, debates, so role play, case study, etc. Now, you can have all these various alternate assessments, but to make it effective, to have an effective assessment, we have to link the outcomes, the tasks, the criteria, the marking procedures, and the feedback. I will explain it as I go along, though this is a slightly complicated sentence. Okay. And this could be done with the help of rubrics. Now, rubrics, I think many of you must be already be exposed to rubrics, but what I'm trying to stress on today is the design of a quality rubric. Okay, so a rubric has criteria, it has level of performance, it has scores, and it has descriptors. Those of you who have not been exposed to rubrics, I'm going to explain it step by step, because while explaining a quality rubric, I'm going to explain the steps. So I hope at the end of it, all of you will know what a rubric is, and you will know how to design a quality rubric that will help students develop the various soft skills we intend for them. Okay. Now later I'm going to make you do a workshop on this. So pay attention. Okay, so now I have taken oral presentation as my alternate assessment. Now, can anyone tell me what is the importance of an oral presentation for students? Why do we choose oral presentation as an alternate assessment? Anyone?
Because some students cannot express in writing, but they're very good when they speak up. They can remember what is taught to them.
Okay.
They articulate their thoughts better orally.
Okay, so you want to give an advantage to students who are better able to articulate their thoughts through oral expression rather than in writing. Okay, that's one reason. Anything else? Any other reason why you choose oral presentation?
Oral presentation helps to overcome language problem.
Okay, it helps them to overcome language problem. So in other words, you want them to develop certain skills. So on one side, you want to give an advantage to those who can better articulate their thoughts through oral expression. And on the other side, you want all your students to develop certain skills of oral communication, because in today's world, oral communication, oral presentations is part and part of any and every in every form. Yes, Farah.
Good evening, madam. It's basically to give them confidence to face the public.
To give confidence, because see, you had all those various soft skills, right? Confidence, leadership, etc., etc. So in order to develop these various soft skills, you want to give them, you want to have an oral presentation. So on one hand, you want to give those who those who can articulate better an advantage. In the others, you want to develop these various skills of confidence, leadership, etc., of oral communication. On the other hand, you also want an intellectual part, right? You also want them to learn through not just articulation and communication, but you want to learn about a topic. Okay, so if I were to assess an oral presentation, there are two broad criteria that I would consider. One would be the presentation, and the other would be the content, because I want to develop communication skills, but I also want them to learn to intellectually have some intellectual skills in terms of content. Okay. So I have two broad criteria, presentation and content. Okay. Now I could say in this example that I'm giving you, I would like to say that both presentation and content I'm giving equal weightage. You may say, no, I want to use a presentation to give them more presentation skills. Then I could put 12 and 8 or more content. So 8 and 12. So you can play about with these marks depending upon what you want to help develop in your students. Okay. Now, what do we mean by presentation? Because I mean, just saying presentation is 10 marks, content is 10 marks. Okay, students know that means they have to concentrate on their presentation and their content, but what do they concentrate on? So you put down what you want them to concentrate on. You want them to concentrate on presentation skills. You want them to concentrate on the use of the visuals. You want them to concentrate on timing and pace of talk. You want them to concentrate on comprehensibility. You could put down whatever you wanted in terms of presentation. Now, how does this help? See, we always talk about a feedback. Okay, that is, the students come, give us a presentation, then we give them a feedback so that next time they do a presentation, they'll do better. Why not give them a feed forward? That is, you already tell them what you are expecting from them, so that when they are preparing for the presentation, the initial presentation, they will concentrate on these various skills. Okay. And therefore, they will already start developing these skills even before they make the presentation. Okay. So this acts as a feed forward. Now, again, you can divide the marks according to what you think is important. You think presentation skills, as you want them to be confident while talking, that is more important than the colors and the kind of visuals they have used. So 4, 2, 2, 2. Okay. You want them to think about timing and pace of talk also, because that again is very important in terms of when they make presentations outside and in the future. Now, obviously then 3, 2, 1, you could have those. Okay, so I've given you the criteria and I've given you the scores. Now, I'm going to write the descriptors. What do I mean by presentation skills? So I write down that if the student has a clear voice, maintains eye contact, has no distracting mannerisms, I could put down whatever I want. I will give the student 4 marks. Something amiss, 3 marks. A little more, a little less, 2 marks. But everyone will get at least 1 mark because they are making a presentation. And similarly, the use of visuals. What do you mean by use of visuals? Color, the size, the font size. Is it very crowded? You could put that. Not crowded, good color use, right font size. So in this way, you write down all the descriptors. Timing and pace of talk, comprehensibility. So you write down the descriptors that will give them full marks, so that when they are preparing for the presentation, they will try and develop these various skills so as to get full marks. They may not achieve it, okay, but they will definitely be better than if they did not know what your expectations were. In fact, I used to tell my students, when you are preparing for your oral presentation, catch your sister, mother, friend, anyone, and let them, and you make your presentation and ask them whether you have been clear, you've maintained eye contact, whether you've had distracting mannerisms, so that they begin to learn to make a good presentation. They are doing it for the marks, but you are thereby helping to reach your goal, that you want them to have confidence, to be good communicators, etc. Okay. In a similar way, you break down your content according to various, the 10 marks again, you could break down, do they have a bibliography? Is there a good flow? Have they researched the material well? So you could have your descriptors and accordingly go on, okay? Now this is also a rubric for a seminar presentation. That was a rubric for a seminar presentation. This is a rubric for a seminar presentation. Can you tell me the difference between the two? Let me see if you've understood what I have said. And so tell me, what is the basic, only there's just one point, okay? Basic difference between the two rubrics I have discussed.
I think this one is outcome based.
This one is outcome based. Even that was outcome based only, no, in terms of I wanted a good present.
This is more based on the intellectuals.
Right. This is a good rubric, but it is only concerned with the content. Is the content well presented, precise, thorough knowledge, actively participated in the discussion? This is all about the content. Remember, I think Farhan mentioned that we are giving them presentations so that they develop their skills of oral communication and confidence. Someone else said that some of them can articulate better. Now, here there are no marks for presentation. Okay, so even if students present well, there is no way in which you can give them extra marks because they presented well. This is a seminar presentation rubric for content and intellectual skills. Have you understood that? So therefore, it all depends on what you want. There's nothing about right and wrong. Why are you doing this? What skills do you want to develop in your students? Depending on the skills you want to develop, you will add that to your rubric. This is a rubric for oral presentation. You could do a rubric for any other type of alternate assessment. So just going through the points, it acts as a feed forward. It helps communicate our expectations of quality assessment. They can concentrate on the criteria to develop the intended skills. So you can have the various kinds of presentation skills, varied rate of delivery, changed pitch, no distracting mannerisms, good eye contact. During the assessment, faculty have explicit and consistent criteria. See, if you're doing, first of all, we rarely do all the presentations on one day. So you do, obviously there will be some difference in their marking if you don't have consistent criteria on day 1 and day 30. Or if you're doing it through the day, there'll be a difference in your marking at the start of the day and the end of the day. Therefore, it could be more lenient, it could be stricter. So it's important to have explicit and consistent criteria. It's an objective assessment. And post-assessment, it acts as a detailed feedback. Because though you've told students all these points, you know, I used to have students who would fiddle with their ID card during the presentations, or they would not maintain eye contact, or they'd only look at their presentation, not look at the audience at all. So it acts as a detailed feedback to them. They're aware of their strengths and weaknesses. So you have areas of improvement, and it serves as a record of the assessment. So tomorrow, if they come and say, but we thought we gave a good presentation, you can show them where they went wrong. Okay. And it should be shown to the students just as you would show a question paper. Yeah. Any questions? And because now I want you to do a small workshop session. Any questions on a rubric? How to design a quality rubric? And what is the purpose of a quality rubric? More importantly, first of all, there are 3 things I would want you to understand at this point. Why we should be assessing different skills in students and therefore have alternate assessments. How and why you design a quality rubric, and what are the skills you want to you know, skills you want developed, and therefore the criteria and the various descriptors that you will include in your rubric. Okay, everyone has understood everything? Okay, so here's your workshop. Now, actually, this is very good as a group activity, but if not, breaking up into groups takes some time, so I wouldn't want that. Okay, so each one of you is going to do it individually, and then I'll just ask a few of you, depending upon the time, to share it with us. So there are two topics: field visit and exhibition. All those in groups 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 will prepare a rubric for the field visit. And all those in groups 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will prepare a rubric for an exhibition. What do you mean by exhibition? It's like using a chart or etc. They present a theme or a topic. Total marks for this internal assessment is 20. What you will do in the next 10 to 12 minutes is write down the various criteria that you would consider and assign total marks. That way I will know what you consider important and what is less important. So you divide the 20 marks based on the criteria that you have chosen. Okay. Is that clear, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so 12 minutes. Wait, let me see the exact time. Okay. It's 5 o'clock, so 5:10. So 10 minutes, either field visit or exhibition, total marks 20. What are the various criteria that you would want to assess and assign total marks in terms of the importance that you want to give to each criterion?
Are we supposed to be in our groups now?
No groups, because that will take too much of time. So each one individually. But if you belong to groups 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, you will do the field visit. You will do it individually. Okay, but all members of these groups will do field visit, and all members of 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will do exhibition.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
We have to put in the chat group or to you?
No, just keep it with you. I will ask you to present it.
Okay.
Hmm.
I've already posted it.
Okay, you've completed it. Then what you could do is you could start, if you finish that, you could add descriptors. You know, like means in the sense now, say suppose, give me any one criterion.
Okay, eight minutes. I have given one criteria, whether it is a model, it is a chart, or whatever type they have selected, how they want to exhibit that type. I haven't decided. Let them decide and let them come
But
out.
you have to give the criteria on the basis of on what basis will you assess that whether they have the choice to put a model, a chart, whatever. But on what criteria will you mark, assess that chart? Those are the criteria you have to write down. What is the criteria on the basis of which you will assess that? They can choose anything, chart, model, whatever. But on what criteria will you assess them? You have to write down those criteria for me. Write down all the various criteria on the basis of which you will assess them for that chart. It could be what they see, it could be what they say, what they answer, whatever the criteria, you write them down. And you put down marks, and the total mark should be 20. You have 2 more minutes to complete. Okay, I think you should be finishing now. Okay. Just to give you an idea of what the final thing should look like. You will not have done the final thing, but when you have a rubric, you will have the rubric marks, broad criteria, and criteria under each broad criterion, assign total marks, and then write out descriptors for full marks for each criterion. Now I'll stop sharing. Is there, who will share their rubric for a field visit?
Can I share, ma'am?
Yeah, you can. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Let's see it. Okay.
Should I start, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
I have given the student attended as 5 marks.
Okay. What is this for? What is this for?
Yeah, the descriptor is that the student was present for the full visit. Sometimes some of them may leave in the half for some or the other reason.
Let's not go into descriptors just now. Give me all the criteria and the marks.
So attended 5.
So attendance 5.
They wrote a detailed report.
Report.
5 marks.
5 marks. Okay.
They have photographs with captions.
Okay. Photographs with captions. Yeah.
3 marks.
3 marks. Okay.
They were attentive and interacted.
Attentive and interactive. Yeah.
First person and all.
Yeah.
3 marks.
3 marks. Okay.
They could talk about new things learned.
Okay. They spoke
2 marks.
Okay.
And they gave a feedback.
Okay. Feedback.
2 marks.
Okay. 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 I'll come back to this. Anyone wants to add to this? Does anyone want to add to this? And then we'll have a discussion. Give me any more points people would want. So she has attendance 5 marks. Are you all paying attention? Report 5 marks. Photographs with captions. Attentive and interactive. Talk about if they've spoken about new things in the report, I suppose, right? And feedback, if they've given a feedback in the report, 2 marks. Any other points that you would want to add?
Can I say something?
Yes. Can you?
Yeah, Vinod, you.
Can I share?
Yes.
Okay. I given like interest 8 marks.
Interest 8 marks. Okay.
Behavior 3 marks.
Behavior 3 marks. Okay.
Observation 6 marks.
Observation 6 marks.
And interacting ability 4.
Interactive 4. 1 minute, because 8, 3, 6, 4. Have I got it right?
Yeah.
1 mark. So I'll put behavior 2 marks.
Yeah.
Okay. I will comment on this. Anyone else?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes. Yeah. Tell me.
Actually, though we have conducted number of visits, but the assessment part we have never done. But so I have just listed out this few points.
Okay.
I just felt if we could have a pre-visit discussion, if I could give 3 points for that.
Okay, pre-visit discussion.
2 points for the pre-visit discussion.
Okay, 3.
Then during the visit, observation skills, though I'm not very sure how we would evaluate it, but
observation skills. We'll write it down, then we'll discuss that.
Observation skills 3 marks.
Okay.
And then the way the student interacts over there, whether there is a spirit of inquiry.
Okay, interacts. Okay, interacts. How much? How many marks?
3 marks again.
3 marks.
Okay, and then again, after the visit is over, if we could have a post-visit discussion, again, I gave 2 marks over there.
Post-visit discussion, 2 marks. Okay.
And then a final report writing, 10 marks.
Okay, final report, 10 marks. Okay.
Can I say, ma'am?
Yes, tell me.
Yes, ma'am. 5 marks prior to field visit, information gathering by the students about the field place.
Okay.
And then 5 marks.
5 marks. Okay.
5 marks while traveling to maintain discipline and apply some management skills during the whole trip.
Traveling, discipline, management. Okay.
And 5 marks.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Now, next 5 marks on information gathering or recording the information by the student at the actual field visit place.
Okay. Okay.
Last 5 marks on the report writing on the next day after field visit. The student has to submit.
Okay. 5 marks. Okay. Okay, I'll
Thank
take
you.
one more and then we'll discuss this.
Ma'am, this is Rita here. May I go ahead?
Yes.
So for field visit, we have broken it up as behavior and participation. So for behavior, it's 10 marks and participation is 10 marks. So in behavior, looking at punctuality, 2 marks.
Okay,
Dress
punctuality,
code,
okay. Dress code, okay.
or presentability, 2 marks. Conduct, 3 marks.
So punctuality 2, dress code 2, then what?
Conduct 3,
Conduct
preparedness,
3,
preparedness
preparedness
3. So that is behavior.
Yes.
And then participation would be at the field.
Okay.
Observation, 2 marks. Note, taking notes, 3 marks.
Taking note.
Interaction, 3 marks.
Okay.
No, sorry. I'll just repeat that again. Observation, 2 marks. Notes taking and interaction, 3 marks. So that is 5 marks.
Okay.
And post visit, sharing and report, 5 marks.
Okay. So post visit, your report is 5 marks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now let's go through, let's just discuss all this. What I can see is, okay, let's take three broad criteria, okay, from the broad criteria. We'll take pre-visit, okay, the pre-visit, during the visit, and post-visit. Okay, your post-visit, you could have, let's put that, is post-visit would be discussion, could be a discussion and field report, or it could be only a field report. Some of you have written discussion and some of you have written field report. Now you can see that different people have given different amount of importance to field report. Okay, the first person said field report 5, but there was photograph and captions which would also be part of the report, so 8. Talk about new things would be 2, so 10, and feedback would be 2, would be 12. Okay, is this feedback oral or in the report? The person who,
I mean oral.
Oral. Okay, so therefore the report would be 5 marks for the report, as you said. Photographs with captions 3, and talk about new things 2. So 10 marks for report is, so 10 marks is report. 2 marks is, so 2 is for the feedback. So 12 marks is for post visit, attendance and attention and interaction. 8 is during the visit. Okay, now while the other points we will discuss in further, and I can see that I like that you all are looking at interactiveness, not just the report. That means you all are giving marks even for how interactive they are during the visit, so that is something you want from them. As I've said again and again, assessment drives student learning. So if you want them to be disciplined, you want them to be interactive, you want them to show leadership skills, management skills, as you all said, give them marks for it. Once they know they're going to get, and tell them about it. Once they know they're going to get marks on it, they will be, far more attentive. They will maintain a dress code, they will interact, they will show leadership skills, etc. Okay, so 8 marks over here is during the visit, 10 marks is after the visit. After the visit involves 10 marks for the report and 2 for the feedback. The next one had interest, behavior, observation, and interactive. Observation, I suppose, is the report, so 6 marks. Now, how would you, the second person the person who gave me this, I'm not sure in what order. How would you gauge interest? 8 marks. How would you gauge interest? Anyone, how would you gauge interest? There's 8 marks for gauge interest. How would you gauge interest? Behavior is okay. 2 marks for behavior, interactive 4, observation in the form of report 6. How would you gauge interest?
Body language.
Body language. Now, I've come across this before. You know, 8 marks is almost 40% of the marks. 40% of the marks you're reserving for just body language. I am not too happy about that. Because remember, there's a whole, unless you have, you know, you're going with one teacher, 5
It
students.
can be,
Yeah.
it can be overall observation of the in the group.
Yeah, correct. So 40% of marks for your overall observation might be a little, because again, there is, for behavior, there's 2 marks, for interactive, there is 4. So basically, just for your observation, you've got 14 marks. 70% of the marks is just for your, on base of your observation, right? Would you want to give so many marks for your observation of the students? And normally we don't have very small groups, no. We're not a 1:5.
Can we give marks for teamwork? For teamwork, can we give marks?
We can give teamwork. So while I'm saying interest should be given marks, I would say 8 marks is too much. Give 2 marks. Because it's basically, see, 2 marks for interest, 2 marks for behavior, 2 marks, 4 marks. So already 8 marks is for what you are observing, and you are going to put down the marks. 14 marks, I would think, would be too much. Okay, so let me just go through this. Then the next one is pre-visit discussion, 2 marks. Okay, you could have a pre-visit discussion, you could have a pre-visit report. Observation skills during the visit. So that's again what you're observing, whether you're checking. Then interactive 3, post-visit discussion. So 12 marks for post-visit, 6 marks during the visit, and 2 marks before the visit. Okay. Then again, so let's just let me now, prior to the visit, you all have about anywhere between 2 to 5 marks, where you all will have a discussion. You all will, according to what you all have given me, okay, or you will have a report and you will give those marks. So we'll have 2 to 5 marks before the visit. During the visit, anything like between 5 to 8 marks is what you all have given during the visit. That is, are they interactive? Are they disciplined? What is the dress code? What is their interest level? So 5 to 8 marks would be for during the visit, and 10 marks would be for report writing. Okay, or 10 marks would be for report writing and some oral discussion. So this is now, what is this report writing? Only few of you have given me criteria for the report writing for the 10 marks. Some of you all have said photographic captions, whether they talk about anything new, whether they, how have they recorded their the various information. Okay, so within that field report, again, you should have divisions. Have you all understood how to put a quality rubric? I'm not going to give you what is right or what is wrong. You have to check and see that you're not giving too many marks for something that is, it does not become very objective. Like body language is not very objective. You shouldn't give something like 70% of the marks, 50% of the marks for something that you are just observing. I would think somewhere between 30 and 40 should be the maximum marks you give for your observation. Say 40%, but in that you should also include leadership, interest, dress code, discipline, interactiveness. Okay, all that would come within 40%. Then 50% of the marks should be for your post visit, and you could keep 10% of, am I right? Yeah, 10% of marks for pre-visit. So that would have all the skills within that. You could also add a oral, somebody has put an oral component to it, so that even communication skills in the post-visit part could be included. Now, does anyone have any questions on this? If not, I'll quickly go on to the exhibition. Anything that you may even disagree with me. So if you want to disagree with me, you please feel free to do so. Everyone agrees, everyone understands, or everyone is not paying attention? What is it? Any questions? Okay, exhibition. Can you give me the points?
Can I, Jyotsna?
Yes.
Ma'am, in exhibition, I'm thinking of a model. It can be RBI, SEBI, or NITI Aayog.
Okay.
4 marks for planning.
Planning.
Virtual. Okay. 4 marks for model. How? Then 4 marks for how does the model appeal to the viewer? Okay.
Okay.
4
So
marks
4 marks for the model and 4 marks that is
4
included.
marks for the 4 marks. How does it mean look wise appearance? And 4 marks for how does it appeal to the viewer, not the look wise. How does it speak? And 4 marks by the explanatory. That means how the team speaks about it. Yeah.
Okay.
And 4 marks for the material used, whether it is eco-friendly or not.
Okay.
So 20 marks.
Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, Sanchita here. Can I speak?
Yes.
Ma'am, for the exhibition, my criteria are choice of the exhibit. That could be a model, that could be a chart, that could be simply
how many marks?
Presentation, 5 marks.
Okay.
Next is arrangement of different elements in the exhibit.
Okay, so the exhibit, the arrangements, so the exhibit, fine.
So 3 marks for this. 3 marks.
Okay.
Next, content of the entire exhibit as well as the speaker, whatever the speaker is speaking, 5 marks.
Explanation, 5 marks. Okay.
Presentation skills, 5 marks, which will involve confidence, language, body language, posture, everything.
Fine.
Timing and the pace of speaking, 2 marks.
Okay, timing and pace, 2 marks. Okay, anyone
So
else?
I think 20 marks.
20 marks. Okay, we'll come back to this. Anyone else?
Madam, here Zamanat. This is for poster display, not presentation, just poster display. So innovativeness of the theme.
Okay, innovative.
3 marks.
Okay.
Content, 8 marks.
Okay.
Relevance or importance, 3 marks. Layout of the poster, 3 marks. And visuals on the poster, 3 marks.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, this is Komal. So there are 4 criteria that I have listed down here. First is the content, 8 marks for the content.
Okay.
So whether the information was correct, supported by appropriate data, good catchy title, story of the poster, etc. Then the context, 4 marks. Whether the relationship between variables, graphs, text, etc. were clearly mentioned. Explanation of was engaging. Explanation of the presenter.
So how
4
much is
marks.
that?
4 marks.
Okay.
Purpose, so whether the objective and conclusion they were aligned, and whether the message was conveyed in a proper manner, 4 marks for that. And use of visuals, 4 marks. So in this good use of color, font and space, and overall impression and organization of that, and what is catching the attention in that poster.
Okay, I think I've got the, because I've got more than 20 marks. Can you just give me the marks again?
8444.
Content is 8 marks. Then
context is 4 marks.
And context is 4 marks. Then
purpose, 4 marks.
Okay.
And use of visuals, 4 marks.
Okay. 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 Is someone else? Last one. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Then presentation, content and skill, 4 marks.
Presentation. Okay. Presentation.
Content and skill.
Presentation and content.
Yes, yes.
Okay, 4 marks.
And live demonstration, 2 marks, 4 marks.
Okay, live demonstration, 4 marks. Okay.
Working model, 4 marks.
Working model, 4 marks. Okay.
Teamwork, 4 marks.
Pardon?
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Okay.
Then reply of some question, 4 marks.
Okay. Questions 4. Okay. Okay. Let's go through. Let's go through each one. So the first was a model. So the planning of the model. Okay. Now, how are you going? How would you actually assess this planning? Will you have discussions with the students beforehand?
Yes, ma'am, discussion.
This is before the exhibition. As they're preparing the model, you will be having discussion, and depending on their planning.
Exactly.
Okay,
How
okay,
they
4
would
marks.
like to move on.
Okay. Then the actual model is 4 marks. Now, what I did not understand is this appeal of the model as against the model itself. I didn't understand that.
What I mean, model means how does it look? Okay, one thing. And another thing, suppose a person is there who has no idea about that thing, but that organization, that institute, or whatever it is that model speaks to the person who is unknown to them.
But would not a good model teach? Give me an example. Can you give me an example?
For example, if I say there is a model of RBI, then does it speak about all the departments, how they are working, how is the categorization, what is the basis of criterion? So they should be known to those who are very new to the subject.
Okay, so basically you're saying whether the model is good in terms of the actual layout of the model.
How does
the layout of the model, and the other 4 marks is, does it have is the content proper enough to teach about it?
Proper, and are they able to?
Yeah, so
are they
that is
visible
the
to
content.
everyone?
I understood. Now I understood. So your
Yeah,
4
okay,
marks is for your discussion earlier. 4 marks is for the actual layout of your model, like the detailing and all. And 4 marks is the content. Does it give information? 4 marks is for explanation, and 4 marks is for eco-friendly material, because that is something you want to stress on. Good. That's a good thing, because you're trying to stress on the fact that you should use eco-friendly material. Okay. Okay. The next one is choice of exhibit, 5 marks. Now, what do you mean by choice? Oh, I am not sure who gave this to me, but what do you mean by choice of exhibit?
Ma'am, this is Sanchita. Choice of exhibit could be a model, could be a chart prepared, could be a graphic organizer, could be a PowerPoint presentation as well.
Yeah, so they can choose any. So why would you, what will you give 5 marks for? Is one of them better than the other? So if they choose
in certain cases, because I'm a commerce teacher, in certain things a model does well, whereas there are certain topics where a model might not do good, a chart would be better represented by.
Okay. Okay. But you know, I now I got your point. But I think, I don't know, 5 marks, that is 25% of marks for just that might be a little too much. But okay, I understood your point, that you are seeing whether they have chosen the right kind of exhibit to give to talk about it. Okay. Then the arrangement is 3, the content and explanation 5, their presentation skills 5. Okay. Presentation skills, that is in terms of explanation, right?
Yes, confidence, language, eye contact, body language, posture.
Okay. So now what you all have all put down are the criteria. You will have to further give the descriptors. Now, like for choice of exhibit, the descriptor would be the exhibit chosen is appropriate to the message to be given.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you would have to give your descriptors. Then the then a poster, the innovation of the theme, innovative theme. What do you mean by innovative theme?
Ma'am, I think this is not mine.
Yeah. Whoever's.
Madam, this is mine.
Yeah.
If there is any novelty, or it is something which has been worked again and again and that has been picked up, or it is something little different.
Are you giving them an overall theme? Or you're just asking them to choose any theme within your subject, or what is it?
For example, if it is a presentation on, let's say, food microbiology.
Okay,
now, if
so
they come up with something innovative, or they take up something which has been worked upon again and again.
Okay. So that would be that. Okay. Then content would be 8. Of course, you'd have to further break down the content into different.
So maybe literature survey, clarity, flow.
Yes, okay. Then the layout would be so whatever be
How
the
it has been
layout.
organized, the flow has been organized.
Organized. Okay.
And visuals, font, color, aesthetics.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay. You have not kept any marks for explanation?
No, because I said it is poster display. At times we just have display for audience to read.
Okay, so they don't explain at all.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. Then the next is presentation and content for the presentation and content live. So in this, I think in this where teamwork, etc., there is a team working.
Yes.
A team working, and within that team there is a working model, a live demonstration, and so you have a live demonstration and a working model, is it?
Yes.
You're expecting both a live demonstration and a working model. So 4 marks for the live demonstration, 4 marks for the working model, 4 marks for their presentation and content. Teamwork is 4 marks, and the questions they can answer is 4 marks. Okay. Make sure that you are able to judge their teamwork. Okay. Have a criteria by which you will judge their teamwork, so that you don't, you can give the team the proper marks for that teamwork. Okay, good.
Yes.
Then the other is content, 8 marks, context, graphs, 4, purpose and message, 4, use of visuals, 4, and overall 4. Now, could the person who gave me this, now the content, I understood, you said all the title, and you would have various other criteria under content. I like that the title is very important for any of these exhibits. So a catchy title makes, is good. So content is 8 marks. Then the graphs, etc., that they have used, you're giving 4 marks. The message and the purpose is 4 marks. The use of visuals, 4 marks. And what is overall? What would you say?
No, ma'am. Overall impression is in the last criteria only.
The overall
use of visuals. In use of visuals itself.
Okay, then where have I missed 4 marks?
No, 8444, ma'am.
8444. Oh, okay, yeah. What, in between you said, what about are they going to explain this, or as in the other exhibit?
Yeah, they're going to, yes, they're going to explain it. So the relationship, yes.
So where are you going to give marks for explanation?
The context, they are building relationship between variables. At that time, they might give some explanation about that.
Okay, so
whether that explanation is engaging, on that we can give 4 marks.
In the 4 marks. Okay, purpose and use of visuals. Okay. Yes, I think I finished with that. So therefore I have completed this. So I think there was only 10 minutes. Through this exercise, you've understood that you should put down a whole lot of criteria. You have to be very sure that these are consistent and objective criteria. You have to then write descriptors for all. What are your expectations? Content is, let's say, 8 marks. What do you mean? When will you give them 8 marks, full 8 marks? When they will have a good title, they have good referencing, whatever. So you have to be very sure that your descriptors are clear to the students so that they know their expectations and can work accordingly. Okay, so this is how you can construct a quality rubric for any alternate assessment. It gives the students a chance to do well, to get marks, and in the process, build on their various skills. Now, once we've done both these types of assessment, looking at both the intellectual skills and the soft skills, you'll have already in your outcome-based education format written down your program outcomes, your course outcomes. You could re-look at your course outcomes. Do you want to change some of the course outcomes, considering that you're going to use these assessments for your course? And if so, you could make some changes so that you get a relationship between your outcomes and the assessment. Okay. Anything that you would want to ask me? If not, I have finished with what I wanted to tell you and what I wanted you to do. good, you're a good group, good interactive group. You all worked well. I was very happy with the rubrics. I was also happy with the kind of questions that you all sent me, the template. So a good working group. I think your principal should be happy. And of course, there are 10 participants from other colleges. I think your principal should also be happy that you all are a good interactive group that is thinking intelligently and sincerely.
Madam, I just want to ask something.
Yes.
So when we write outcome, course outcome, how many, like what should be the length, in what detail should it be written? Is it that for a paper, there are some 5-6 statement, or it is better that we write module wise, unit wise?
No, it's generally done. The course outcomes are done module wise, but you put it all together, no? Because see, it would be all together. This is what you want. You want them to, see, if for your convenience, you could put it module wise and then put it all together. So that for this course, these are the outcomes. It is ultimately a summation of the module outcomes only, no?
No, when we go in detail as per Bloom's technology, and when we try to, taxonomy, and try to write the outcome, it becomes quite detailed.
Yeah.
We have different units. Each unit is oriented differently. The topic considered is differently. So,
see, there are two things here. Now, one is the requirement, that is the UGC requirement. So UGC requirement wants course outcomes, you write course outcomes. For your own purpose, while you are going through each module, see that you know what outcomes you want to achieve. Basically, I would think the course outcomes are a summation of all the modules. Because see, the thing is, now suppose you want presentation skills. That would be a common thing that would run through your course, which way you would give a presentation on any one topic, right?
Yeah, okay.
Whereas I understood you want to do that, they should be able to analyze a specific data of a specific topic. Or suppose you have, like, let's say thermodynamics, you want them to be able to solve problems in thermodynamics. That becomes very specific.
Yeah. There's another thing. University has given us in the syllabus, there are some objectives and outcomes are listed. Now, if we refer to that, we may not be able to, frame the outcome or convey the outcome so effectively.
So now see, you all are in a non-autonomous setting. So you already have your course outcomes, but nobody is stopping you from going further and framing your outcomes and teaching that way. And because see, ultimately the goal is, one, the student does well in the answer paper. I think you all have that liberty in the first and second year, right?
Yeah.
You set your own paper. So you are developing those skills in your students. That is, see, one is keeping to the norms. The other is, what do you want? You want to develop these skills in your students. And let me tell you from my experience and those of others, students are really grateful. They may not be grateful while they are your students. They may not realize it, but later on they will come back and they're really grateful for the role that you've played in their future. Because already you must be, I'm sure you have helped students develop these skills, and I'm sure your students have come back and told you how it was useful to them.
Yes, that is.
So this is a more concentrated way. So though your university might give you some outcomes and you feel, no, it's not, I can go beyond that, go beyond that.
And another, maybe I don't know the content of your next session, but if you could throw some light on attainment levels of outcome.
See, I think what Dr. Chitra can actually, this is actually what Dr. Sibyl is doing, and I think I will be sitting in on that. But I think Dr. Chitra, I think Dr. Sibyl is going to do.
I was told that there would be a fourth session, which would be more participant-centric, where probably the participants would be asked to present something. That is what was told to me. Like,
I will have to check with
Three
Dr.
sessions.
Sybil, because actually Dr. Sybil was going to take, I was doing 2 sessions, she was doing 2 sessions. And in the 4th session, yes, I am going to sit with her, along with her. What would you all want? Let us see, let me see what your expectations are, because I'm sure Dr. Sybil and myself are open to suggestions, something that will help you all along the way.
Yeah, so this is basically with NAC perspective also. How do we measure the attainment of outcome? What are the various possible ways, including mapping?
Okay, attainment of outcomes, including mapping. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
mapping is one thing we were going to this.
Mapping has been touched upon by Dr. Sybil, but a little more on that.
Okay, attainment of outcomes with mapping. Okay. Also, then, maybe you all could do, let me talk to Dr. Sybil and Dr. Chitra, and we could, focus on certain things, but, it would help. I don't know if you all have realized it. When you yourself work, right, you learn more. If instead of us just coming and talking to you, if we could give you some suggestions and then you work on it, you learn more in the process, even if you make mistakes.
This will be very nice if you could give us some guidelines or something to work upon. We will work and get it back.
Okay, so Dr. Chitra, would your participants be ready to do some homework before that 4th session?
Yes, definitely, ma'am.
Okay.
That's what we were planning.
So we'll do something like that, where we will work on it. We'll have maybe a video call between Dr. Sybil, you and myself, or anyone else in your college that is involved in this process. And we could decide on what you really need and what, how the participants could do a little bit of work, and then we'd have some guidelines, and then we could assess the kind of work done, if there is any small change that could be made, or it's just excellent work accordingly.
Yes, ma'am, we can do that.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other questions, queries, comments?
Madam, Madam.
Yes.
If you can have the 4th session offline, where if you can come and we can have an interaction, so that it will be better, I feel.
The offline part is because it would be better. I prefer offline, but I think schedules are even, therefore I think Dr. Chitra asked for a 4th session tomorrow, and neither of us was free tomorrow. So, schedules have to be worked on. So we'll see. If it's possible, that would be nice. Anything else? Any other comment, query, anything you agree, disagree with?
I was just thinking about this part of that field visit, though we have conducted number of field visits right from day 1, I think, in college. But we have never thought of this part of assessment of a field visit, actually. I mean, we have never done it in this systematic manner, the rubric way. We used to take a field report from the students. All that used to be done.
Yeah, I know. But I find rubrics a very useful way, and assessment a very useful way of making students do what we want them to do. And we want them to do for a good purpose. I mean, it's a positive kind of, for example, I'll give you a small example. Very often we call eminent speakers to speak to our students. And we call eminent speakers to speak to our students because we think that they have a lot to offer to our students. But I don't know about you, very often what happens, the person comes, gives a very good talk. All those in the first few rows are attentive, they ask good questions, interactive. And somehow those in the last rows think that just because they're at the back, there's no need for them to pay attention. And anyway, there is a whole lot of people who are being attentive and interacting with the speaker. They don't need to take part in that. So we introduced a small assessment even for that. And being a science subject, we could put a few marks into their practicals. So even that we gave a few marks, but just so that to make them, so how interactive they were, could they write? So after the speaker left, we used to give them 10 minutes and told them to write down what they heard. So they couldn't copy from each other. And something very small, just 15 to 20 lines, but enough for them to pay attention to the speaker and get something from this eminent speaker that we had called. The idea is to, make sure that some of them you may miss some, but at least 90% of your class gets the advantage or gets the opportunity to develop these skills. And the only way to make, it's funny that we want it and they don't want it, but that's human nature, all of us are the same. So if we want all our students to have the opportunity to develop these skills, introduce rubrics, and that forces then or motivates students to do better. And that's what we really want.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
If there are no further questions, I request Professor Vinod to give the vote of thanks.
When will we be informed about the fourth session?
After discussion with Dr. Sybil and Dr. Vivien, I'll put the date on the group, Shabas.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Vinod?
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, audible, but camera, pata nahi.
No, camera, I don't know. Camera is
Yeah,
on, but there is
know.
something is coming. I
Right,
made
fine.
my camera on.
It's fine. Okay.
Okay, anyway, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Academic Improvement Committee and IQAC of Royal College, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Vivien Amonkar for a very informative and engaging session on the topic outcome-based education. Ma'am, today's session will help the participant in the following assessment method based on Bloom taxonomy. I will definitely try to set my paper as per this new method. I would like to thank all the participants who have joined us for this webinar. Hearty gratitude to our founder, Sir Professor A. Lakdawala, and management for their encouragement, constant support, and guidance. I also thank our trustees, Zaina ma'am, for her constant support. I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Vikas Vaidya, and Vice Principal Malika Bhutwala for motivating and guiding us all the time. I would also thank to our Dean Kamala ma'am. Sincere appreciation and gratitude to all the members of IQAC, especially Akila Miss, Juliet Miss, Chitra Miss, and organizing committee for the efforts for making this webinar a success. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar. I end this session, officially say that I end this session here. Thank you everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for all the comments you'll have passed, and thank you for a very
Thank you, ma'am.
interactive session. I enjoyed it a lot. I'll see you at the fourth session. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.